Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sandra Black. Sandra Black. You can find me on Facebook, and I also have a channel on YouTube. But what I wanted to talk with you today is about some very important information that it appears that the American public is not aware of, or maybe we just don't care. But I want to set you up for a video that you're about to see that will prove that Hillary Clinton is actually putting out documents to take the DNA of African people so that she can find their weakness in their DNA and cancer them. Okay? You will see this in this video that's coming up, that she has sent out documentation to her people as of 2010 as Secretary of State to collect the DNA of African people and the people in the UN for who she wants to take over. Okay? But before we do that, I just want to set you up a little bit. I want to set your mind up to where, people don't just come out and tell you, look, we're getting ready to kill you all off. That's not how it works. You got to use your brain. You've got to stop being sheeple. Look at 911, how everybody on the planet knows that they watched that building fall by strategic bombing that we see in demolition of buildings. Never, ever, 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 ever has anybody seen a building fall from a bomb and a fire. This is what they're trying to say it happened from. The bomb is the jet hitting the building, and then the jet fuel fell down the sides of the walls and had fire. Okay? So you have a bomb and a fire, and then that creates a demolition fall. Okay? Just please, we have to use common sense. When you see green grass, don't let somebody tell you, no, that's not green, that's purple. We've got to stop these things that we are doing with allowing them to get away with just utter lies. We know 100%. Weapons of mass destruction was a lie. Killing up Americans in the war, killing up Iraqis, for what? A lie. And who do we care? No, we don't care. Do we try to get somebody held accountable? No, we don't try to do that. Another thing that I want you to do, just bear with me, please. And I know my technology is so bad, but this information that's coming up is going to rock your world. I'm giving you heads up on how to look it up, because just seeing it in one place, I agree, is not enough. You have to be intelligent and look it up. Okay? The YouTube search you want to do is for Hillary the Liar. And then the other YouTube search you want to do is for the Clintons. That will tell you about how she's a murderer, a scandalous murderer. And then Google Hillary Clinton's connections to Margaret Sanger. That will show you where she hates brown and black people. Margaret Sanger is the one who helped to Hitler to have his concept of how certain people should be genocide off of the earth. She's the one that had all the research on how to genocide people off of the earth. And people, I can't make this up. All you have to do is look it up. You can't just have the mind, oh, I want to believe in Hillary, so I'm not going to even try to look it up. No, we've got to do our research. The woman wants all black and brown women off the earth. And then the same problem with even Obama getting elected. They are laughing. The elite are laughing at us because what they do is they get in their little places and they bet. I bet you they bet millions of dollars on us. Let's see how stupid they are to think that they are actually putting together an election where they have a choice of who's going to be in office. And with Obama, Obama was bought out from day one when he went to the Senate, and he was told that he better not help black people because they would make him president, and if he helped us, that they would come back on his family. Okay, and that's the reason why you only see Obama helping gay people, helping Muslims, helping everybody but black people, because he will be a target the moment that he helps blacks as a race. So he's not allowed to help black people. And then I want you to hear what Obama has done with his executive order. This is Dick Gregory. Please listen.
Order 13603. President Obama authorizes slave labor.
No, people.
Wait a minute, give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
My eyes deceiving me. Executive Order 13603. Obama authorizes slave labor on a large scale on American soil. Say what? President Obama signed his own executive order, which allowed for the president to enact slave labor on a large scale on American soil. For the Americans who have been targeted for FEMA camp detention. FEMA camp detention? So now we have the people who are going to clean the roads. Is this modern day CC camps? Forced labor?
Keep on, because that's just the first part. Then wait till you get to see where he can take your wallet, check your wallet.
Okay, let's go to it. Let's go to it. Most will voluntarily self-incarcerate in order to avoid starvation for both them and their families. The following excerpts from Executive Order 13603 will be enacted. Third World Population Control. Using food as one of the primary weapons. I keep telling people, Mr. Louis Farrakhan has been talking about growing our own food, hooking up with the black farmers. Let me continue. Lawrence Lucas has been talking about it. Let's move on, Beverly.
Okay, well, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I had just wanted you to know and see that the events that are going on right now are all falling right into the plans of the globalists, and they are sitting there laughing their butts off at how ignorant we are to allow them to get away with it. And even with just how they have put the election up between Trump and Hillary is all just a setup for all of us. But the worst part is the fact that you have a murdering, scandalous, racist who is trying to help to sell out the American people, and she's up against a person who is pretty racist himself, and he also, he definitely does not understand black people. Donald Trump, if you're willing to put a platform out there that will help black people, I'm telling you that I would work with you and try to improve our conditions. But with Hillary Clinton, people, you've got to know her heart, you've got to know her person. And here we go. I'm going to let you listen and hear the video.
And the Secretary of State, who was Hillary Clinton, sent out a message to U.S. embassies, consulates, and missions to, among other things, collect DNA on foreign leaders. Now, DNA means a biological sample. You can get it from a hair, from a toothbrush, from a drinking glass.
Thanks to leaks from the State Department, it's known that targets for DNA profiling included most of the ambassadors of the United Nations, as well as many African leaders.
One of the possible reasons for that was to create DNA designer diseases, because if you know what some of these DNA
will help black people, I'm telling you that I would work with you and try to improve our conditions. But with Hillary Clinton, people, you've got to know her heart, you've got to know her person, and here we go. I'm going to let you listen and hear the video.
and the Secretary of State, who was Hillary Clinton, sent out a message to U.S. embassies, consulates, and missions to, among other things, collect DNA on foreign leaders. Now, DNA means a biological sample. You can get it from a hair, from a toothbrush, from a drinking glass.
Thanks to leaks from the State Department, it's known that targets for DNA profiling included most of the ambassadors of the United Nations, as well as many African leaders.
One of the possible reasons for that was to create DNA designer diseases, because if you know what somebody's DNA is, you know what their weaknesses are, you know about their immune system and their own bodies. So you're going to create a cancer weapon, potentially, that will attack the weak areas of this targeted individual's body.
The claim is that the State Department also targeted Chavez, and by knowing his DNA, the CIA was then able to develop a weapon that would cause him to develop a virulent form of cancer. But how was the weapon delivered?
Obviously, there are various methods you could use to deliver a toxin or a poison to a target. And there have been suggestions that perhaps President Chavez's underpants were somehow laced with some sort of cancer pathogen that caused a tumor.
If the killer underpants theory is correct, then it explains why the cancer that killed Hugo Chavez began in his groin. But Wayne Masden is convinced that Hugo Chavez was not the only victim of this deadly fashion.
In the case of Hugo Chavez, he may have been one in a series of Latin American leaders who had been targeted by a cancer weapon. Cancer strikes many people, all ages, all nationalities, and we know that. But the mere fact that about the same time that Hugo Chavez developed his symptoms, we had two presidents of Brazil. Former President Lula, who was very close to Chavez, he developed cancer. His successor, Dilma Rousseff, also developed cancer.
In all,
Okay, do you hear that? I can't tell you. This is the reason why I had brought up the demolition in 911. How often do you see it within a matter of just a few years, all leaders around the same area just fall down with cancer? This is what I'm trying to explain to people, that you have to get on board with not, well, if we don't, they didn't admit that they did it. Of course, they're not going to admit that they're trying to kill people. Only Trump does that. I'm just telling you, I mean, he never said he was trying to kill people, but he said he was going to, send them back to Africa. Well, I mean, I think being sent back to Africa is a little nicer than being exterminated. This is what, and she does it in the closet. She's totally in secrecy and lying, where Trump puts everything out there that's in his head. Okay? And then they're sitting there laughing at how stupid we are because we don't investigate the insides of what a person's actions are. Check Hillary's actions out. Hillary has never done anything to help black people, and she's had the position for helping us, but she's never done anything to help black people except to get voted by us, and we vote her in regardless to the fact that she hates black people, black and brown people, and the proof is her admission that her idol is Margaret Singer. And so that's what you need to look at. Is it true that her idol is Margaret Singer? Then second, is it true that Margaret Singer wants black and brown people exterminated off the earth? You look those two things up, and when you find out that what I'm telling you is the truth, you guys start, kind of using some sense about whether actions are worse or words are worse. Because Trump's got words, Hillary's got actions, and Hillary's actions are saying that she wants us exterminated.
7 Latin American presidents developed cancer at around the same time as President Chavez.
7 Latin American presidents developed cancer at the same time.
It's not accepted by many mainstream historians.
I'll let you guys hear that for yourself. 7 Latin American presidents developed cancer all at the same time, but this is just coincidence.
In all, Wayne claims that 7 Latin American presidents developed cancer at around the same time as President Chavez.
Fact that about the same time.
But, I know who Margaret Sanger is. And I know that she believed in eugenics and that she was not particularly enamored with black people. And one of the reasons that you find most of their clinics in black neighborhoods is so that you can find a way to control that population. And I think people should go back and read about Margaret Sanger, who founded this place, a woman who Hillary Clinton, by the way, says that she admires.
Joining us now.
Hillary Clinton admires. No. Hillary Clinton said out of her own mouth, Margaret Sanger is her idol. I'm trying to tell you guys, I know that this is probably different information that you're hearing right now, but I listen to the person's mouth for what they say themselves, and then I read from their books. Margaret Sanger, I read her book, you see? And so when I was telling people that she was calling black people weeds that needed to be exterminated, this is not because of what I read on the internet. This is because of going to the library and reading her book. When I tell you that Hillary says that Margaret Sanger is her idol, not that she admired her. I guess you do admire your idol, but she worships Margaret Sanger. And it's a difference between a worshiping and an admiring. It means that this woman is her every essence of who Hillary Clinton is. Look up Margaret Sanger. People know Hillary Clinton.
It may hold readiness without any regard to descent, rank, or spirit. He was saying here that you could restrain people in any way, even deprive them of their freedom in certain circumstances, even castrate them. Well, you take Darwin, you have to help the species along, otherwise we'll go awry. And then Nietzsche, there is no God, and we have to, even if we take them and deprive them of their liberty and freedom, we have to do that because there is no God. This was the trouble that brewed in the 20th century, and it eventually led to the promotion of something called eugenics, Greek meaning good birth. And from 1912 to 1932, 3 international eugenic congresses took place. This is an original copy of a book called Eugenics. It's absolutely horrifying. The purpose of eugenics and these congresses was to investigate how they could improve the human genetic makeup. Which country do you suppose was the first to undertake action? Of course, it's the Progressive Era. Under Progressive President Teddy Roosevelt, he created the National Hereditary Commission, whose mission was to encourage the increase of families of good blood and discourage the vicious elements of the crossbred civilization. Oh. Sterilization laws cropped up. In fact, the first one was passed in Indiana in 1907, where you could just grab a woman or a girl and sterilize her. It's horrible, right? You wouldn't want just girls sterilized, right? Remember that for later in the show. Others followed. The betterment of the race. In Yale, they had a race to get to a better race, if you will. And The whole thing was to get other Americans from their homes and pull them out, deprive them of the ability to have children if they were, stupid or deemed wasteful people, and lock them away in institutions. These actions were likely emboldened because the academic elite were behind the idea, and so they just knew better, right? The greatest minds in America, Yale, arguing that our national vitality depended on a productive citizen. And the best way to ensure that, of course, was through carefully controlled breeding. Well, you can't pick who should marry who and who should have children with whom. You just had to weed out those who shouldn't be breeding with anyone. Yale luminaries founded the Race Betterment Society, among other eugenics propaganda outlets, and eugenics became mainstream in the scientific community. It was a big deal. I want to show you a bulletin board at Yale that should scare the dickens out of you. This is from Yale in the early 20th century. It says here, these three little circles there, I don't know if you can make them out, are light bulbs. The first light bulb says this light flashes every 16 seconds. Every 16 seconds a person is born in the United States. This light flashes every 7.5 minutes. Every 7.5 minutes a high-grade person is born in the United States and will have the ability to do creative work to be fit for leadership. Only about 4% of all Americans come within this class. Then the top one says this light flashes every 15 seconds. Every 15 seconds, $100 of your money goes for the care of persons with bad heredity, such as insane, the feeble-minded, criminals, and other defectives. Some people are born to be a burden on the rest. Important to remember. The Yale Bulletin Board. This takes us to Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood. She lamented the spread of human weeds, the undesirables, as she, according to Singer, said African Americans were. The full context of the human weeds quote should be seen. She said, Margaret Sanger, quote, colored people are like human weeds and are to be exterminated. The Sanger wanted to engineer people, and she engineered the Negro Project. She said of it, quote, we do not want word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious neighbors. She was talking about the African American minister. It would play right into their hands, she felt. It should come as no surprise that Margaret Sanger supported the KKK. Yes, maybe she was one of the progressives that wore that outfit behind me. Always, to me, any aroused group was a good group, and therefore I accepted an invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan. That's Margaret Sanger saying that. She said the door dins, and the figures parading around with banners illuminated with crosses. She said, but through the end, simple illustrations, I believe I had accomplished my purpose. Dozens so invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered. Isn't that great? Considering it was the intellectual and scientific community and the United States government striving to be at the forefront of eugenics movement, it also should come as no surprise that Nazi Germany, who you may want to recall now, got rid of the world's Jews, or tried to, as part of Hitler's quest to achieve the...
You see, guys, I was trying to tell you, we don't know our history. And that's the reason why we are sucked in to being utter fools. This woman, Margaret Sanger, had the nerve to say that they would even use retarded pastors. And I'm calling them retarded because why does she even have the idea that they would even help her to destroy black people? You see, people, we need to wake up, and you need to actually investigate. There is a conspiracy going on, and the bad part about it is that it's not just the black and the brown. The globalist is taking this to a whole different level. So I'm going to let you know, okay? Listen to me, people. I am just telling you the truth that at least 6 billion people, so that's most likely anybody who is listening to my voice, ultimately, these crazy sick people want you dead off the earth. The bad thing is that the people on the front line of the war to save humanity, the people on the front line are the black and brown. So the majority of the whites who are thinking that they're okay don't realize that as soon as the black and brown come, they're going to come from them too as well, because they only want 500 million people left on the earth to serve them, the elite, as slaves. And they're laughing straight to the bank because we never wake up to realize that they even show us Georgia Guidestone. Look it up. It's there. The Georgia Guidestone is their proclamation where they're letting us know, fools, we're going to take you out and we're going to come for only 500 million on the planet. But what they don't tell you is that 500 million is going to be the slaves to take care of the elite.